Well, guess what? I beat you, I beat you, we all beat each other, we beat each other all the time! That didn't come out right.
Attention, we're doing a giveaway, and if you want to win an Xbox One, some wrestling merchandise, or even an Amazon gift card, then like this video right now and subscribe. Then click the link at the top of the description and officially enter. Professional wrestling is a mix of a good few things, and while wrestling is like probably in the top 5 most important things, I'd say that promos and making connections with the audience is a skill much more important than being just a good wrestler. These 10 people had no troubles making connections, but instead of connecting with the fans in a positive way, they connected with other people inside the company in a negative way. I'm D Wicket, and these are the 10 WWE Superstar promos that got heated. Number 10, Cesaro wanted SmackDown. In what many people couldn't distinguish between a work or a shoot, when Cesaro was drafted into Stephanie McMahon's Raw, he aired his grievances about being on the brand that would likely be all about GM drama that no one cared about. Fair play to Cesaro, as he was right about the GM drama that would ensue and the general disdain everyone had for it. He went on to rant about his placement in the draft, being picked 17th overall when he felt he was deserving of a top 10 pick, which he obviously was, and was especially upset about not getting to try out his hand in the land of opportunity.
Cesaro, you were drafted in the 6th round to Raw. How are you feeling about all of this?
Well, first of all, I'm not too happy to be drafted, what was it, 17th in the 6th round. I feel like I would have probably been a better fit for SmackDown, but Raw going forward needs to be about the superstars. It needs to be about the performers in the ring and not about how Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley coexist.
Look at that sick piece of fabric. You want that shirt? That's Watch WWE's very first shirt. Click the link down in the description if you want your own. Number 9, Jericho drags down Punk. There's no easier way to make things heated than to bring someone's family into the mix. And Jericho did that perfectly in the build to his WWE Championship match with CM Punk going into WrestleMania, when he called out the straight edge superstar's family who clearly didn't have the same outlook on life. He talked down about Punk's father and sister, basically calling them drugged up and alcoholic, which was apparently not far from the truth in real life. Punk reportedly didn't mind too much about the cheap family shots, but he wasn't worried about them in advance. And speaking of...
When I look at you, I see a fraud. I want to tell them that you're straight edge because your father is an alcoholic. Your father was an alcoholic who let you down every step of the way when you were growing up. Was the pain of wanting to drink so bad that you needed the pain of a tattoo needle to take it out of your mind? Was it your only solace? I found out all about your sister's substance abuse problems.
Chris, shut up! What are you talking about?
Oh, come on, it's well documented your sister has problems with drugs and...
Jericho! You're
That's that your parents' wedding date actually took place after your birth date. That makes you the legal definition of a bastard.
Number 8, Paige mocks Reed Flair. Nothing spells out cheap family shot quite like this embarrassment of a segment from Raw back in late 2015. Paige and Charlotte are both technically sound athletes, but they were in a weird period character-wise. Both were, sort of acting like heels, and neither of them were faces. Yet the two had 4 pay-per-view matches, all for the Divas title. To try spicing up the heat in favor of Paige as the asshole, WWE went ahead and had Paige call out Charlotte's little baby brother Reed Flair, saying that he didn't have a lot of fight in him. There's nothing okay with this. It's cruel, it's offensive, and especially bad to the Flair parents who watched live without being informed about this promo and were both emotionally brought to tears from watching this segment.
You know what, Charlotte? You're wrong, sweetheart. Because your little baby brother, he didn't have much fight in him, did he?
Oh, come on!
Number 7, Bite This Awkwardness. Lita and Matt Hardy's storyline was an interesting one. They dated in real life, which translated on screen, then Edge happened. Edge started a backstage affair with Lita, and she left Matt out in the cold, and then when he complained about it online, the company fired him. While on Bite This, which seemed to be a radio call-in style show, Matt Hardy actually called in while Lita was a special guest and confronted her, and as you can imagine, it was all sorts of awkward.
Hey, Amy. This is Matt Hardy. The same place where I showed up and embarrassed you this Monday night in Newark. Newark is also the same place you told me you loved me, Amy. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
To get retribution on you and against that piece of feces, Adam Copeland, and against the WWE, more specifically the office of the WWE, Johnny Ace, and all the other that fired me.
Although I can tell you about why I don't want to be with you. You cutting wrestling promos in a personal context could be one excuse that I could tell you.
A lot of people are asking.
Make it quick.
Do you really feel that Edge should have been fired over you?
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Copeland was a guy that was married. He was committing adultery, having an affair with my girlfriend. Those two were in the wrong, and the company, the WWE, was going to endorse that and fire me. And if you screw over Matt Hardy, believe me, I will make your life miserable.
Number 6, everyone screws the Hitman. About a year before the WWF actually went ahead and screwed Bret Hart out of the WWF Championship, Hart had been going through plenty of crap with everyone already. Hart went out the night after the Royal Rumble where Steve Austin unfairly won to cut a work-shoot promo against everyone in the company like Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin, people who Hart thought were screwing him over. Hart was never a great promo, but what he lacks in technical ability he makes up for in passion, which he exudes in promos like this. He kayfabe quit the company this night, and about 2 years later he'd actually get screwed over and would quit the company for real. Number 5, Happy New Year. God damn, I love Jim Cornette. He just didn't give a fuck, and he was so good that he was told he could trash the company he was signed to as long as he did his great mic work. Cornette had a segment where he'd just take a microphone every week and trash people. Sometimes it was WCW, usually it was WCW, but at the tail end of 1997, Cornette was given a live microphone and went up against everyone. Cornette versus everybody. He trashed WCW for a bit, but very quickly started shit-talking sports entertainment, the WWF corporate, and pretty much the entire company he was working for. It was great, and his outro was pretty damn good too.
Oh, you got a guy coming out dressed like a Christmas tree, you got a woman coming out dressed like a reindeer, you got 2 adolescent mullet heads showing their butt cheeks on national TV. I think it stinks. Because I'm with the biggest wrestling promotion of all time, the WWF. But over the last couple of years, I don't see any wrestling.
Number 4, quitting in Styles. AJ Styles won't be the topic of discussion here, but hey, AJ's great. Joey Styles was pretty great too. Must be something about the last name that makes you so good at the wrestling stuff. Styles was the ECW commentator back in its heyday, and once ECW made its official 2006 return, he took his spot over once again. This couldn't last forever though, as Joey eventually left the commentary booth in spectacular fashion. On his way out, he trashed the company, attacked Jerry Lawler, and very clearly made a statement against the WWE style in comparison to ECW.
WWE called me because they had humiliated and fired again Jim Ross. I'm told to deliberately ignore the moves and the holds during the matches so I can tell stories. But I'm not good enough to call Backlash because I'm not a sports entertainment storyteller. I never needed this job, and I don't want this job anymore. I quit.
Number 3, the pipe bomb. Well, you know, come on. It's CM Punk tearing a new one into WWE. I don't care how many lists this nearly tops, it will always remain in the position as one of the greatest things in wrestling, if not the greatest thing in wrestling. But, number 2, Paul Heyman's pipe bomb. The invasion angle was pretty bad, we all know that, but it had its moments. Thanks to ECW being part of the equation, we got one of the top 3 talkers in all of professional wrestling history get a segment where he got to just tear into Vince McMahon. Sounds like fun to me, Paul Heyman ripping into Vince about how awful of a person he is and how he screwed over Heyman so many times and how cheaty his antics were. The promo was insanely good. Heyman essentially called out Vince as a copycat of Heyman, using all the things that Heyman made to make himself popular and make ECW different, and say that Vince just stole them all for the Attitude Era. And then he went on to tell him that his children hated him and that he would beat them at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. Oh, and he also called Taz a fat, bad color commentator. So, there's that.
I'm gonna call Vince McMahon out to his ring. I'm not the one that ruined everything that was accomplished by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Vince McMahon has lost his mind. The man doesn't have it anymore. Vince's loyal employees, like Stone Cold, left him. Like Mick Foley, want nothing to do with him. Vince's own children want him to burn in hell. Oh.
Here we go. No chance. Vince McMahon is not going to wait for Paul Heyman to call him out. The owner.
I want you to know that I was down on my knees because I know that you're used to men kissing your ass, Vinny. You stole Bret Hart's dream And with that money, bought yourself an airplane with WWF all over it. How you stole everything that ECW represented. Stone Cold Steve Austin was drinking his first beer in ECW, damn you. What you got is my ideas, and you stole my life.
And number 1, Talking Smack. Miz on Talking Smack. Absolutely no question. It's Miz. Miz wins. It's just so good. The Miz going on Talking Smack and completely losing his mind while calling out Daniel Bryan and twisting his coward insult on him, whilst also ragging on the entire company that he thought was plotting against him. It was wow. It was just so good. He absolutely is the reason Talking Smack became such a phenomenon. He put Talking Smack on the map. Absolutely, Miz wins. Click like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at DWicketYT, and why not buy a Watch WWE shirt?